Hello. People always ask me, like, what is a counseling session like? So I decided to use this time just to kind of share what may occur in a counseling session. So, first, initially, of course, I would introduce myself. My name is Natasha Mullen. I'm a licensed professional counselor in mental health. I've been doing counseling now about 23 years. I worked for an agency for 17 years, Delaware Guidance, which I loved, but I wanted to work with more with adults. And so I decided to start my private practice part-time. And then, of course, I moved to full-time. My first question would be, have you ever been in counseling before? And so the reason I wanted to know that is because, one, I want to know how familiar you are already with the counseling process and what you felt helped or what you felt didn't help. So that would give me some guidelines on kind of where to start. Then I would want to know kind of what's going on. So I would ask you your symptoms. If you say you're depressed, I'd want to know what your depression looks like. Is it sadness? Is it irritability? Is it anger? Do you isolate yourself? Do you not want to do the things you used to do, not motivated? Or if it's anxiety, is it that you worry a lot? Do you overthink? Is it hard for you to sleep? Do you notice that you emotionally eat? So either way, I want to know more about what your symptoms are, what they look like, how long have they been going on? Is this something that's more recent, or have you been noticing this for years, or have you been anxious since you were a child? And so this all gives me more information about kind of where we need to start. I also want to know when those times are worse. So do you notice sometimes where things are really, really bad and times where things are not so bad? Do you notice when things are helpful? Like, for instance, say, when I go for walks or when I talk to my sister or when I talk to a friend, I notice that I feel a lot better. And so we want to know when things aren't as bad and what are you doing? And so after that, I want to know more about your history. So, for instance, your childhood history, like who raised you, who was in your life when you were a child, how were the relationships, what were their parenting styles, how's your relationship now? Do y'all get along? And so I want to know kind of once again, because all of this kind of has an impact on how you feel. I want to know your history of trauma. Have you been in a car accident or any history of abuse, emotional or physical abuse, sexual abuse? And these are not things you have to talk about as much in first session. I'm just trying to get a general idea. So we won't have to go into that deep rooted stuff first session, but you could just say, yes, I was molested when I was 4 and it lasted until I was 8. And then we could just kind of move from there. We don't have to go into a lot of details unless that's something you want to talk about. And so I just want to get an idea of what you've experienced up until this point, because once again, that affects your everyday. Did I want to know if you have a legal history? Have you been arrested? Is a probation officer going to call me? And because I want to know when I'm doing my notes, if that's going to be subpoenaed for court and things like that. And so, or if DFS is going to call me because you're involved with them. And so I just want to get an idea if you got anything legal going on. Substance use, really big factor. If you're smoking weed, the great chances you're more depressed. And so once again, I'm not judging, but I do want to know that, because if you're telling me you have all these symptoms and you're smoking weed, well, then that may help me understand a little bit more about what's going on. Or if you're drinking a lot and you're drinking a lot more than you used to, that gives me a better idea of kind of what's going on. And so I'll gather this information. I want to know if you have anything medical going on, because once again, sometimes we may have some deficiency that make us feel depressed or make us not motivated or exhausted all the time. So I want to know about your medical history. And so I want to gather all this information. It just gives me a snapshot of kind of what's going on. But most importantly, I want to know what's working right. What is going good? What is helpful? What are some things that you enjoy, even if you're not doing them right now? Who are your supports? Who do you go to? Who has your back? Who do you talk to when you're frustrated or angry, or if you need money? And so do you pray, or do you have a pastor or a first lady that you go to, or a supportive friend that you could always call? Or if you know that working out or walking or whatever it is that kind of helps you do this, because you've got this far. So you have some type of resiliency. So I want to know what you've been doing up until this point. And lastly, the most important thing about counseling is not advice giving. It's just helping someone work through what they already have, the thoughts they already have, the feelings they already have. And we're just going to process and navigate them together. And so the most important thing about counseling is it's a safe place, that you don't feel judged, that you don't feel criticized, that you don't feel like I'm saying, what? You said that or you did that? No, absolutely not. I'm going to be with you. I'm going to be that safe place where you don't have to put that mask on for the world. I'm going to be that person that you can share what's really going on, how you really feel, what you've really been struggling with, so that you can feel better.